welcome to this first ever episode of Behind the Tapes, helping to keep the Glasgow Speedway community connected and thinking and talking about Speedway in this trying and difficult time for us all, a time of restriction where we can't go and see our favourite sport live, of course, and in the style that we've all become accustomed to, we're having to do things remotely, and why not talk about Speedway and Glasgow Speedway in particular here on TigersPLUS. For the past 4 weeks or so, TigersPLUS members have been treated to, that's my words not theirs, treated to some Skype conversations with Ricky Wells, Ulrich Ostergaard, Paul Stark and Brock Nicol joining some TigersPLUS members to talk about Speedway. And we thought that we would try and uplift the quality a little bit, make the quality of the production much more palatable and more easily accessible to more TigersPLUS members and wider as necessary. And here we are. This is a first live run of using some software and sprucing up this program and be able to talk about some Speedway. So I'm delighted to say that I am joined by a young man who is a familiar face to us all, certainly around Glasgow Speedway. He won our support last year through his sterling performances home and away last year. I've said already publicly he was my Rider of the Year for Glasgow Speedway, and he's only 2 years into his senior Speedway career, and a brave young man because he's held his hand up and he's volunteered to be the first guest here on live on Behind the Tapes. I welcome from Cumbria, Kyle Bickley. Good evening, Kyle.
Go on.
Kyle, some frustrating time. Thanks for giving up some time to talk to us here on Behind the Tapes and for being our first victim as well. Kyle, some frustrating times for us all. We're all on lockdown, restricted movement, etc., etc. I guess you and Team Bickley will have put a lot of graft in over the winter to get yourselves fit and race ready for the new season, and you're twiddling your thumbs. You must be hugely frustrated, Kyle.
Yeah, massively. It's not an ideal situation. I mean, we're stuck in the house mostly, and I try and get out and do a bit of exercise, and I'm on with building a new workshop at the moment as well, and so it's all it is all getting boring now. It's been a month, but just can't wait to get back riding.
And you were telling me, Carl, I had a quick chat with you during the week to twist your arm to do this. I didn't have to twist it very hard actually, but you were telling me that reality is bitten. You've actually got yourself a day job. Yeah,
I've started working at Morrison's about a month ago. Which is pretty good. It keeps me out of the house, and it's only a couple of shifts a week, but it keeps me going and keeps me doing something. And it's better than nothing. It keeps you out of the house, keeps you active, and normally this time of the year, all around the country, it's hectic. So it's a bit of a shock to the system, I think.
and Kyle, there's a seriousness to life at the moment, of course, as we all know, and the NHS is at the forefront of everything that's happening at the moment, and have the admiration of the great British public, and NHS frontline work, of course, is part of the Bickley household.
Yeah, obviously my nana works at Morrison's also, which she got me the job there, sort of. I was pretty grateful for that, get out of the house and stuff, and bit of income. My other nana and my mum, they both work for the NHS. So, they're real busy at the moment, and, where they can, they work from home, but, they're doing a fair few shifts to, keep the country going and keep the thing running. And, I think it's brilliant what all the NHS staff are doing, and they're really stepping up.
And Kyle, what about on a personal level? You can't actually get on a bike, you can't actually get some racing done at the moment, but presumably you're looking after your fitness, and you're ready to go whenever that call might happen.
Yeah, I'm just sort of gauging when the season will start now, so I can be, as fit as I can be, and as good as I can be. But it's hard because, we don't know when the season's going to start, and if it's going to start, it's I don't think anyone knows the question right now and knows the answer to that. It is tough, but I'm just keeping going, and when I can.
Well, listen, let's talk positively. We'll talk about 2020 and what might yet happen hopefully sooner rather than later. But let's have a look back, Kyle, to last year, and you became a bit of a crowd favourite at Ashfield last year. We've seen firsthand how much you've come on. 2000. Let's remind everyone, 2018 was your debut season in the championship, an all-conquering season with the Comets, of course. Three medals picked up before the sad closure, of course, at Derwent Park. Fate would have it, you weren't lined up to join Glasgow at all last year. Fate intervened, as we all know. We've discussed that before, and you found yourselves thrown in at the deep end to some extent, in a powerhouse Glasgow side that were expected to have a tremendous season and did, and you certainly played your part in that, Kyle. Do you feel you've stepped up between 2018 and 19, given what you managed to achieve last year?
Yeah, I feel like I did step up from 2018, but then also I feel like, it wasn't 2018 didn't reflect the rider that I sort of was, and what I was capable of. It was a lot to take on board at the time, and a few bad meetings. Well, they weren't really bad meetings, but it's stepping up was hard, and I took it pretty hard, and I struggled a lot, and it got on top of me a bit, and it sort of ruined my season completely. I couldn't sort of get back to where I wanted to be, mentally, and physically I wasn't the best either. So I went away from that season, and I worked on myself, and I obviously secured a place at Workington again, and I was looking for a fresh start and a bit of time off the bike, and get my fitness going well, and lose a bit of weight, and which I did. I ended up losing around about 14 kilos. And I was really fit to start last year, and obviously Workington, I closed down unfortunately and lost my job. So it gave me just a bit more time to focus on my fitness and how I'm going to come back when I do get a job eventually. And I got the call to Glasgow. It was about 1:30, 2 in the morning. Of Peter, and it was a bit of a shock. Luckily, I was still up, but it was a bit of a shock, and it sort of all came at once, and it was all a bit sudden. And then it was press day, and then the first meeting, and I think the track was real good this year, and everything was real good, and it just helped me sort of get back to where I wanted to be. And I was doing some pre-season practicing this year, and I feel really strong for this year, and I feel real good.
Again, we'll come and talk about 2020 and the recent training camp that you were involved in, Kyle. Coming back into the season, the 2019 season at Glasgow, you only had that one senior season under your belt at that point. You'd ridden Ashfield, of course, at a sort of youth level, and you had some familiarity of it. But tell us about the Glasgow track, Kyle. Is it a track that you, at that point, pre-season, looked forward to racing a full season on? Did you have to work at, adapting to the Glasgow track?
Yeah, I think the Glasgow track was, is a brilliant track, and especially when they widened it, it gave so many opportunities to pass, and I think, it showed that last year, it really did, and, I think the fans and everyone, the riders agree that it changed the track completely, and it made it change it for the better, in my opinion. They were running it pretty slick. People obviously the way riders didn't like that, but it was producing really good racing, and it was producing really good scores for the Glasgow side. So what more could you want? It was a brilliant track, and it was prepped all nice all year. There was a few hiccups through the year that we found, but as a club and as a team, we all got over them, and we all got on with it as we should. Credit to Chris and Jerry and Peter and everyone up there. They got, every time we hit a hiccup with the track, they just sorted it out within weeks. And the amount of work and effort that went into the track and money is phenomenal. You wouldn't believe it.
Just watching you this year, Kyle, and I don't know whether I'm being unfair to you if I suggested that you appeared to develop as a rider in terms of the lines that you raced. 2018, and I might be wrong here, so correct me, disagree with me if you wish to. You appeared to be a rider who preferred the inside line. certainly around Derwent Park. But at Ashfield last year, whether you were pushed or whether you were prepared to do that yourself, you used a lot of outside lines last year around Ashfield in particular.
Yeah, I did when I needed to. You know, everyone sort of did joke about it and said, "Oh, you don't go near the outside, you don't touch it." But no, it's yeah. I found at the start of the season the inside line was so fast, and it's something that obviously I've rode around the inside for a few years and just like when I was younger and wasn't confident enough to get out there, and obviously I found that to use as my advantage, and I thought I could really use this as my advantage because all the senior riders and the more riders who sort of have rode in the leagues longer and rode the 500 longer, they're chasing the dirt all the time and stuff. So if you can find the same amount of speed but go a shorter distance, then you're gonna pass them easy. And I think I caught quite a lot of people off guard last year. Just chopping back and popping up the inside of them, and they struggled to pass me, making starts as well. So yeah, I think I definitely used that to my advantage, and when I needed to, I went up the outside, and when the inside wasn't working, but yeah, it was a really fast line last year, especially towards the start of the season. It was brilliant.
And I seem to remember, Kyle, I'm thinking back to the GP qualifier last May at Ashfield, and you had a couple of rides that day, and I remember you giving some more senior riders a bit of a run for the money.
Yeah, I think I did, but reflecting back on that as well, as of now and watching videos, I didn't. Again, in that meeting, I don't think I rode enough like full potential. I definitely wasn't as confident enough and loose as I would be in a normal Heat 2 or a normal league meeting. I feel like if I'd have brought that to there, I scored a few more points, and I think I scored four or 5 points as a reserve, and I got 4 rides, I think. So that was brilliant. It was good to get the experience. And yeah, I give a few of the lads, the top boys, a bit of the run for the money at some points. But yeah, I think if I managed to ride like I did in the league meetings, I'd have done a lot better.
Kyle, I've got a couple of questions from a couple of Glasgow fans, a couple of names that you'll recognise, I'm sure. Gaynor Lindsay asks for your best and your most memorable moment and perhaps your worst moment at Glasgow last year.
Put me on the spot there. I'm going to start off with the worst because something that jumps to mind, straight away without a doubt. The absolute worst, probably one of the worst nights of my career. To be fair, that was obviously Heat 14 in the league final. That was really tough to take, and yeah, it's not good thinking back on it now, and it's really tough to take the fact that the full league, everything we've done all year as a team, all the money invested came down to one race, and unfortunately, we lost that. So that was really, really tough to take, and it's something I've definitely dwelled on all winter. To know that if just done better in that one race, we'd have won the league, but it is what it is.
Kyle, I spent 6 months trying to forget Heat 14 in October, but good of you to acknowledge it, and I could understand. I guess I could understand from your point of view why that might haunt you a little bit. My words, not yours. But listen, it's done, and you've got to move on, and we've got to move on. What about your highlight or your best moment at Glasgow?
My highlight, my best moment would probably be. I can't really pick one out individually, but I had a couple of really good moments up there. I did really enjoy the boot camp at the start of the year, the team bonding and stuff, and getting to know the lads. My first meeting of the year, obviously, it's probably I think my biggest score in the championship, and it's the first meet of the year, and I was feeling pretty good. And then probably getting through to the final with the boys, and yeah, I think that was pretty good to share with the lads and get through to the final and be in a chance to win the league.
It's interesting, Kyle, and it's something I've talked about to TigersPLUS members and other Glasgow fans. 2019, it ended in a huge disappointment. Of course it did. But the season itself was such a great season. Glasgow won more than they lost. The crowd really got behind the lads and the club itself all year long, home and away. And when you look back, it wasn't a bad season at all, was it?
No, it was a really good season as a whole. It was a really, really good season, and all the team, the fans, and everyone was brilliant. I mean, there's very, very, very few fans. I could probably count them on one hand. That didn't support the team out of thousands last year. It's probably the best fan base, or if not one of the best fan bases in the UK in terms of supporting the boys. And I mean, even after that last meeting, everyone still supported us and still believed in us, and that's great to see, because it does help you to know that you've got thousands on your side, and thousands gunning for you all the time to win. So it is brilliant to see the support of fans last year and the management.
So no hesitation, Kyle, if in future you got another phone call in the middle of the night from Peter or Cammy to come back to Glasgow?
Well, preferably not in the middle of the night, but hopefully through the day. But no, definitely, I think I could definitely see myself going back there. I think this year it was a bit, maybe my performance in the away meeting against Leicester, and then maybe a bit of a numbers game. I think it was a close decision and all that, but I'll be happy to come back in the future.
That's good to hear, Kyle. And of course, away from Glasgow, you were also racing in the National League with the Colts at Bellevue, and another sterling season. And just to broaden the question a little bit, of course, a silver medal at under-21 World Championship level, Kyle. Not bad at all.
Yeah, it was brilliant to get that meeting, get that medal, and brilliant to be a part of that. And it was definitely something to learn from and take in everything. You don't realize. I don't think I realised how fast them boys at the top level were. You got quite a lot of them riding, in top league in Poland. So going from a reserve in the championship to riding against some of them boys was pretty tough and challenging. But it's definitely something to take away from the meeting and sort of use for future experiences and help me in the future to do better, score more points, or etc.
Life moves on, Kyle, and life in Speedway moves on, and it's a bit of a numbers game. Now, I know it's a cliche to say it, but sometimes teams are prevented just down to numbers from retaining riders that they would quite like to retain, and I guess a decision had to be made, and no doubt it was a tough decision by the Glasgow management, and you received the news that there was not going to be any place for you at Ashfield in 2020. What was your initial thoughts? Was that pretty gut wrenching to accept and to take, Kyle?
Yeah, because I was in Australia at the time, and obviously I was trying to do put some results in over there at the time, and I sort of didn't have a championship club at the time, and no one had actually approached me. After the season I thought I had was it was awful, to be fair. I sniffed around, asked a few people, and said, yeah, we're happy to have you. And I landed at Berwick, fortunately, and they've been great so far. And the management have been great, and just like to thank them for the opportunity. But yeah, it was tough to know that I didn't have a place secured, and it was still early on, but I expected to have a few more teams chasing me after the season I had. I thought to be fair, I'm a 4 or 5 point rider, riding on a 3.3, just under 4 average. So yeah, I thought a few clubs have been trying to snap me up a bit earlier, but no, fortunately I landed with a club, and yeah.
I'll talk to you about Berwick in just a moment, but you mentioned Australia. That was before Christmas, if my memory serves me correctly. Tell us about was it 6 weeks or so you had around about the Perth area? Tell us about that experience.
I spent 8 weeks out there in total. It was a bit extended from what it was supposed to be, the 6 weeks. I actually went down to Mildura. There was 2, 3, 4 sent to Perth, and there was three boys down in Mildura. Opposite side of Australia. A good 32-hour drive from Perth.
Wow,
But
that puts coming to Glasgow into perspective, doesn't it?
yeah, it's a good 32-hour drive to get from. It wasn't even one side of the country to the other either. It was just kind of central to the west coast. So yeah, it was really good over there and good to experience it again. I just didn't have the best luck over there again, and it is hard because you're going there by yourself. And I'm not used to being at meetings by myself, and most of the time I didn't really have a mechanic. I had a couple of boys help me out here and there where they could, and a few meetings I had someone there with us. But
you actually missed your dad, did you?
Yeah. My granddad definitely, because you're used to coming from a race and get this done, get that done, letting them know everything needs done on the bike, and you can concentrate on your next race then, but to sort of have to do that yourself, you come back in, I need to change the sprocket, I need to change the jet. By the time you change that, you're out again. It's really hot and you got your kit on, so it's tough. And down in Mildura, the competition's tough as well. It's based in a fairly good place where quite a lot of the top boys live and live around there. So all the meetings were fairly tough, and didn't have the best luck. But again, it was something to learn from. Personally, I think, and if I ever go back, I think I'd definitely do a few things different, and I'd be more prepared.
And Kyle, I see you're wearing your ATPI hat, and I guess big credit to Ian and various other individuals and sponsors for creating that opportunity for you.
Yeah, definitely. Ian sent us out there, and he sort of sorted everything out, and he helped us. Justin Sedgman, also another Tiger, lived out there with him, and Cooper Reardon. So thanks to everyone again who helped me and give me a place to stay and drove me to meetings and whatnot. But brilliant. Ian sent us out there and gave us the opportunity for the last 2 years, which I haven't really produced many good results over there. But I feel like it's something good to take away, and it gives you something to think on and work towards for the British season. And it definitely helps for the start of the season. And I wasn't even that rusty when I got back on the bike this year.
That's the benefit of it, isn't it? It gives you more bike time, keeps you sharp, and I guess race fit, kind of.
Yeah, definitely. It kept me in the loop of Speedway, but then also I got enough time to sort of off the bike and to sort of reset and get the hungerness back to the season starting, because obviously it was a long season, riding 2 leagues and obviously making a lot of finals again, and then to fly out to Australia literally about 8 hours after my last meeting. I flew out to Australia, so yeah, it is all like pretty rushed and stuff and pretty compact in, and by the time you get over there, you're sick of washing bikes and stuff. And after the Glasgow meeting as well, it was wasn't the best note to go on, but it gives you enough time to sort of reset and for the next season, and keep yourself fresh, but also it doesn't allow you to get rusty, and you're ready to race again.
Let's talk about 2020 then, and we said we were going to try and be positive, and who knows what's ahead of us and what might yet be the art of the possible to see some Speedway this year. And so you're all set to be a Berwick Bandit and line up with I don't know if he's your friend or your foe, Leon Flint, of course, who you've ridden with and know very well from the Colts and the Bandits reserves for 2020, Kyle.
Yeah, definitely. I think even when we were in a team together, there's a bit of rivalry there. It was all big fun and games, to be fair. We both wanted to be number one, and we were both joking about it. You know, we both want to be number one last season, and we tripped over each other quite a few times last year. And but yeah, you know, we get on pretty well, and you know, it's good to know you're riding with someone at reserve who knows what they're doing, and they're going to look out for you in the long run. And yeah, you know, it's good to have someone there, someone less to worry about in E2 or wherever, you know, you don't have to worry about, and you know, they got the so solid.
And some track changes, of course, made during the winter at Shieldfield. I don't know if you've been able to see them firsthand for yourself, but exciting times at Shieldfield, and hopefully, well, who knows? I guess until we get some bikes out on the track in anger, we won't quite know the benefits of those track changes. But something to look forward to facing, Kyle.
Yeah, definitely. I think every track we go to, they seem to widen it. Don't know what they're trying to say, but yeah, it should be good. Like Glasgow, it makes up, you know, a perfect few more opportunities to pass. Obviously, Berwick, you can definitely pass around there without a doubt, but you need to be experienced, and you know, you need to be experienced and sort of and know the track, to be fair. You know, someone like Kev Doolan would be a prime example, very experienced rider around there, and his whole career, and you know, he could pass people wherever he wanted. But for someone like me coming, you know, into the club, it would take a bit to sort of get round it, and you know, find the best places to pass. And you know, I think now that the widened it's not going to be that pressure to sort of learn that, and it's going to help me relax more, I think, knowing that it's sort of going to be a bit easier, and you know, it's going to be a lot better race, I think.
And the Bandits promotion and the management team, you know, very enthusiastic guys. And you know, one thing I'll say, and this is an outsider looking in at Berwick Speedway, but they appear to have an amazing rapport between the riders and the promotion, and I imagine that must be worth some points, Kyle.
Yeah, the relationship between the riders and the promotions pretty good, and you know, it's all good up there. You know, they're pretty chill about stuff, and they're easy people to talk to and get on with. And you know, obviously Gary and Scott, you know, they know what they're talking about. You know, they've been in the speedway scene a long time, and you know, they can sort of relate to half the stuff that the team's going through at times. And I think that definitely helps to have someone there that has sort of been there, riding a bike, you know, whatnot, to half understand the situation a bit better. And yeah, it's good.
Kyle, you know, probably a question that no doubt you will be asked every season for your entire career. But do you have any particular, all being well, and we get some racing, of course. Do you have any particular objectives out of 2020? Be that at National League level or Championship level or beyond. Anything you want to share?
You know, National League, I just want to be out and out number one. And you know, do what I should be doing right now in the league, and you know, I think my fourth season, so you know, it could be my last season, but I just want to be out and out number one, and you know, show people what I'm capable of in that league. And you know, in the championship, I'm looking to move up to main body. At some point in the year, you know, move to main body and get up there and experience that as well, because I haven't really experienced that yet properly. But that's sort of my goals. They're pretty vague at the moment. But yeah, that's just what I'm looking to do for the 2020 season.
And in terms of your setup for 2020, you mentioned you've been doing some work in your workshop. Tell us about that before I ask you my next question. What are you doing out in the workshop?
Yeah, just putting a few partition walls up and stuff, and putting some plasterboard in the ceiling and stuff, and you know, new electrics and stuff, and getting all that sorted, and you know, just trying to, obviously, the workshop's huge, and I'm trying to you know, compact it into a smaller workshop at the moment. So yeah, there's quite a lot of work up there to do, and yeah, definitely think about it's just giving us goosebumps to know how much I'm gonna have to lift out the other workshop. But
Kyle,
yeah, no.
Kyle, where do you keep your medals, Kyle? You've got an impressive collection of medals. Where are they?
They're down the workshop, unfortunately. They don't have them on me. they're down my workshop, and yeah, I have a pretty nice cabinet, glass cabinet with two gold FIM World Championship medals and a silver sat in the middle,
Very,
and
very impressive.
a few good glass trophies there. So yeah, I have a good little cabinet down there, and yeah, it's good.
And I know Team Bickley work very hard to attract sponsors in the first place and then to look after them. And what sort of winter has it been in terms of retaining sponsors potentially from Glasgow and elsewhere and attracting new ones, Kyle?
Yeah, I've attracted quite a few new sponsors. Obviously Grant's still on board this year, even though I've moved away from Glasgow.
That's Grant Henderson. Grant Henderson Tankers.
Yeah. He's obviously supported me really good last season. 2018 as well when I weren't even at Glasgow, and it's good to see he's sticking by me even though I'm not in the Tigers colours. And obviously I've lost a few due to still due to Workington closing down. Unfortunately, Curtin Carpet's on board this year, the main sponsor, and another local one, DSD Construction. Unfortunately, I lost a few there, but I've George Hepburn. He's helped me out this year as well over in Berwick, and I've gained a few over there and lost a few. So yeah, it's a sort of a difficult situation. We're bouncing around between teams and clubs, and still with Workington closing down, I'm still sort of losing a few even now to say we're not getting we might not be getting the promotion that we need stuff. So yeah, it's difficult to take, but you've got to move on and look for new opportunities and look after the sponsors you got.
Absolutely, and you do that very well, Kyle. You mentioned Workington, your hometown club, or as near as Dam, and I touched earlier on in this interview about the club's demise at the end of 2018. What you've got your finger on the pulse in that locality, Kyle. Is there any sense of anything positive happening around the town as far as Speedway is concerned?
Not a lot, to be honest. I mean, after it closed down, obviously there's a few talks about having just a year off or a couple of years off and coming back. But at the start of last season, middle of last season, the track was actually taken out completely, even the basin. So just to get the track back in alone, you're looking at thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of pounds, the shale, the concrete and stuff. So it's not looking certain at all. And in my opinion, I don't think Speedway will come back to Workington. But you never know. You might get someone who comes in that's passionate about the sport and wants to help out.
Let's hope so. Some very successful times over the years down at Derwent Park. We're talking about Cumbria, of course, and you're one of a few Cumbrian kids, if I can describe you all that way. We've got Mr. Bewley and Mr. Cook don't live too far away from you. You're not teammates of those guys any longer. Do you still spend some time with them, or under normal circumstances, do you spend time with those guys?
Yeah, normal circumstances. I normally, I do a bit of mountain biking, a few trails with Craig and Dan, and maybe go for a game of squash, or go to the gym or whatever. So yeah, normally I spend a lot of time with them. It's good to have someone like people there to talk about the sport and stuff in the off season. And obviously Cookie as well, being so experienced. Even being with him out on the mountain bike, talk about Speedway, I can pick things up and learn stuff. Every day. So it's brilliant to have that, and not under normal circumstances. I do spend a bit of time with them and on the road bike, whatever. But at the moment, it's all put on hold. No mountain biking or all like that at the moment, which isn't the best.
I was a bit concerned about Mr. Cook because I seen a picture on, I think it was Instagram last week, and he was absolutely wringing wet by throwing a few darts at a dartboard. I think he's out of condition, Kyle. You need to have a word with him.
Yeah, I think the off season got to him a little bit.
Clearly, it's got to us all. So Kyle, listen, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Here we are, early May. Who knows what's ahead? Poland are obviously there's some big noises coming out of Poland that they're gearing up to run their Elektraliga season, and of course that that involves a commitment from all the riders to go and live in Poland full time for 4 or 5 months. And good luck to them for being able to do that. Who knows what will happen, if anything, here in the UK in 2020. The BSPA, of course, are remaining very positive and not yet given up on the prospect, Kyle, that you might be able to get out on track before too much longer.
Yeah, definitely. I think that they're looking at all opportunities and all possibilities of getting bikes on track and also keeping clubs financially stable. Obviously, with the way it is, I think right now, it's best to just wait till it's blown over, then get going again, because at the moment we got clubs in countries and leagues tripping over each other to get to riders, and I can't see it ending very well, to be fair. But no, hopefully we get back out on track soon and get all this sorted. But it definitely is a tricky situation to sort of say, because a lot of people say, oh yeah, just live stream the meetings, but there's a lot of clubs will lose a lot of money because it's not a guaranteed audience, if you say so.
Yeah.
And it's hard to sort of gauge, and you'd have to put money into it to get money out of it. And I don't think any, some clubs are, but I don't think, and quite a few are, financially capable of doing that sort of thing. So yeah, it is such a sticky situation, and I think all we can do right now is just let it blow over and see where we are.
Unprecedented times, Kyle. I mean, let me ask you this question. I don't know if you've had time to think about it or even consider it, but if we were allowed to run, let's say from August, September, so the Speedway season would be 2 months or 3 months at tops, would that be workable from a rider's point of view? Would it be worth doing that? Would you still be interested to have a season of only 2 or 3 months?
Personally, I would, because I'd like to get out on the bike. But then you've got another thing is, quite a lot of riders fly in from overseas, and would it be worthwhile them flying over, paying for flights, getting bikes ready and rent and whatnot? Would it be worthwhile to them for doing it, for two or so months? And I think unless it sort of blows over a bit faster, maybe in July or whatever, I think if you run it a bit of a shorter season, I think there might be a struggle for riders. And I think no matter what happens, this season's damaged as far as it goes. Just can get some sort of riding, even if it's not teams. Whether it's individual meetings or whatnot, some sort of riding and get out on track.
Kyle, I'll let you get back to your Sunday evening. Before I let you go though, any final message or of thanks or such like for the Glasgow fans?
Yeah, just I hope you're all keeping well, and hope you're all keeping safe. And this goes out to Glasgow fans, management, and anyone who's watching. Hope you're keeping well, keeping safe in this obviously tough times, and just hopefully I'll see you back out on track soon, and we can get to racing.
So that's just about us for the first ever edition of Behind the Tapes. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Kyle, for giving up some time and for all of your insight and input to this.
No worries.
I'd like to, on behalf of TigersPLUS, send our sincere best wishes to Joan Anderson, who is known and loved amongst the TigersPLUS and the Glasgow Tigers supporters fraternity. Joan's in hospital at the moment, and Joan, on behalf of us all, we send you our love and best wishes and hope to see you back home very, very soon. Kyle, thanks again for your time. Fingers crossed you get into some action before too much longer. We look forward to seeing you back at Ashfield, albeit you might be wearing a Berwick Bandits race jacket. We'll forgive you that. And the best wishes to you for whatever happens this season.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having us. Stay safe.